Hey everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the greenhouse. Today I'm going to talk to you about Phalaenopsis. The Phalaenopsis that you get from grocery stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, these no ID Phalaenopsis. I'm going to go into detail about the pots I use, the media I use, and keep in mind that every growing environment is different and it is mainly based on trial and error. So here is my oldest Phalaenopsis, no ID. She's growing roots, she's growing a flower spike and a leaf. Now I have her in a clay pot. Most of you know I have most of my collection in clay pots. I like using clay pots because they dry faster than plastic pots. And for me and my environment, I was killing my orchids in those plastic pots because the roots were rotting away. Now I have this in moss and a mixture of pebbles, and twice a week I will put her in this tub. I have a 20-20-20 fertilizer in here, about a half of a teaspoon. I don't want to burn my orchid roots with fertilizer, and I just take this, fill her up, and I let her soak. Okay, for about 5-10 minutes if I get busy doing something else with another orchid. And I let her soak. So as this big mama soaks, I want to touch on the subject about sunlight, because I think it's kind of a myth out there that Phalaenopsis can't take direct sunlight. But let me tell you, they can. And this one does. On this shelf right here, it gets direct, no shade cloth, because the sun comes in directly to her. About 4.5 hours of direct morning sun. And then when the sun is setting, like maybe evening time, she also gets quite a bit of sun. And as you can see, you know, there's a tad bit of sun damage. But if you acclimate your orchids, any Phalaenopsis, dendrobiums, cats, if you acclimate them, they can withstand direct sunlight. And what I mean by acclimating them is setting them out, like if they're used to complete shade inside your home, and you want to move them to an area where there is going to be direct sunlight. Take that orchid and set it in direct sunlight in the early morning for about 25 minutes. Do that for a couple days in a row. And then up that time to 35 minutes. And what you're doing is you're acclimating it. So here's another big no ID phal that I have in moss, leca, and some lava rock. Now, to touch more on the subject about what media I use all sorts of different media for each phal, because no phal is the same or has been the same with me. And what I mean by that is, I first had this one in bark inside this clay pot. And about 8 months went by and no growth was happening. Nothing was happening with it. So I said, okay, let's put some moss in there and see what happens. Took all that bark out, put moss in, and she is creating new roots, new leaf, a lot happier. So here in front of me is the one and only Phalaenopsis I have in a plastic pot. Plastic pots stay wetter longer. And I'm telling you, I don't have to water this but once every 2 to 2.5 weeks inside the greenhouse where the temperature and humidity are horrible. So in a home environment, I was really rotting and killing my roots because they were staying too moist and not having a drying period. And I just watered this about 6 days ago. Yeah. And you can see I put the bark in there very loosely, and because it's such a big Phalaenopsis, it was very top heavy, so I put pebbles on top to help keep it steady. And she's doing pretty well. I put her down and I kind of ignore her, and when I randomly think about her, oh, it's watering time. So that's my one and only plastic pot. Now back to saying before, that one orchid didn't like bark, but this one does. That goes back to tell you, not every orchid, not every Phalaenopsis is the same. I know I'm repeating this, but as a beginner orchid, it took me a lot of time to figure this out, because I would YouTube how to grow a Phalaenopsis, how to take care of a mini Phalaenopsis, and I would try their setup, and then I wouldn't know why I was killing my orchids and was not working for me. So I figured out what worked for me best through trial and error. I really hope this video helps you guys and help you understand that you're gonna kill orchids, but that's okay, because next time you might not kill them and they might reward you with beautiful blooms. Happy growing, everyone. See you later. Bye.